Releasing Trauma is sponsored by the Global Association for Trauma Recovery. The Global Association for Trauma Recovery is a social impact organization serving as a resource for survivors and their families, dedicated to facilitating change by spreading trauma-related awareness and thus creating a more trauma-informed world. Learn more at gaftr.org. Welcome to Releasing Trauma, a Survivor's Podcast. I am your host, Tracy Osborne. I am a survivor of emotional bullying, rape, sexual assault, domestic abuse, and grief. After losing my husband in 2019, I set off on a new adventure to help other women release their trauma and create a life they can cherish. Each week, I will feature a guest expert or a survivor to share their stories, tips, wisdom, and more. The goal is so that you can take away even just the smallest nugget of information you can use in your life right now to make a change, and to remind you that you're not alone. There is life after trauma, and you can move from victim to thriver and create a life you can cherish. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Tracy Osborne, and with me today is Michael Murphy. We're going to be talking about cancer and relationships today. So Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. I always like to start out with having our guests tell us a little bit about themselves and their story. So let's start there.
Okay. Well, I'm 64 years old. I have 4 children, 7 grandchildren. I'm married. I live mostly in Medellin, Colombia. I also have a home near Palm Springs, California. I've been an automobile dealer for most of my life, San Francisco Bay Area. In 2011, I had an event in my life that kind of changed my destiny. And I created a nonprofit foundation working with women that had cancer. And as a result of that, after many years of that, decided to build a healing transformational retreat center here in Medellin, Colombia. So and I just published a new book about my wife's battle with cancer and called Living in Color. So that's my mission right now, is to try to create something where people can learn to heal themselves, and especially financially poor women that have very little resources, not too much education, and in my opinion, are somewhat abused by the system.
Wow, that is
a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. That is amazing. No, I'm actually sitting here thinking, I really need to talk to you off the show.
Anytime. I'm always here for you.
You know, because I just founded the nonprofit, the Global Association for Trauma Recovery, and one of our flagship programs is going to be helping survivors who can't afford to get the help that they need to get that help. So
and I was looking at your work before I came on. One, I want to applaud you for doing what you do. We have a couple things in common. We didn't have either one of us have the greatest childhood, and we're both still a work in process or progress. So we do have that in common. I
don't think that stops. I think we're always a work in progress.
I think when you take that last breath, your work is now done.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
But with that said, for 6 years now, I've worked intimately with women below the poverty line, so they're completely disadvantaged and that have cancer. Yeah. And so you're all about trauma. Let me tell you, they're going through trauma, and you would be shocked at the stories that they've told me, because I really believe that almost all breast cancer, women's cancer, and men's sex organ cancer are related to some sort of emotional trauma, but more so in women, I believe. And so, yeah, I would love to work with you and find a way where we could support your women, because the reason we do a 22-day transformational health, that's what it takes to reboot the system, and we reboot the physical through juice detox and giving you vitamins and minerals that you truly need. But then we get into the mind where, all the insanity lives, and that we reprogram that. We create new neural pathways that serve you, and we get rid of limiting beliefs. And then the other thing is, then we move you to the heart, because that's really where we should be living. It's a little harder there because you feel, but you're not brainwashed, and you can trust it. So, that's our philosophy. So that's why we're doing this work. So maybe we can work together on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And, I agree. I think we tend to live in our heads much more than we live in our hearts.
Yes.
And
By design, I might add by design, especially for men, because it's so easy to brainwash the mind, right? I mean, look at the propaganda in the news today. And, the Jesuits say, hey, give us your kid till age 8, and he'll never leave the church, because you're a sponge. From birth to age 8, you're a sponge. You just take everything in. You don't question, you just believe it, right? And so now you and me, and especially if we had a difficult childhood, we have to undo that. And we have to then put in a new program that serves us and eliminate the one that causes the trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and if the trauma occurs at a very young age, you may not even realize that it's there.
Exactly right. And it's because it's in your subconscious, and we live 95% of our day in our subconscious. And I wrote another book called The Creation Frequency, and I really teach people how to bypass the conscious and rewire the subconscious, because that's where the magic is. That's where the power is. That's where the miracles take place.
So tell us a little bit, so you you treat the cancer with the juice detox and all of that, or
let's talk about that a little bit. Okay. So first of all, there's a million philosophies and theories on and different angles to this, and the thing that frustrates me, okay, is, they created a war on cancer, I think, when I was a teenager, maybe, and it's blown out of proportion, right? They create a war on drugs, it blows out of proportion. They create a war on terror, it blows out. But cancer. So it's this morning, I actually was starting thinking, I go, but I want to see what they tell us what cancer is. And so after all these billions of dollars, they still don't tell you what cancer is. Okay. And but the moment I walked into MD Anderson with my wife when she was terminal, and I saw that, my first thought was, they can't afford to cure cancer. This is too big a business, And so when you start going down that rabbit hole, and like I said, I've worked with close to 200 women that gone mostly allopathic medicine, which is, cut off 1 or 2 breasts, take out some lymph nodes, put a hole in the chest, fill it with chemotherapy, and then radiate, which causes cancer. All those things cause cancer. They're all trauma. They all cause cancer. So our approach, our philosophy is, so first of all, that's allopathic medicine. And then there's integrative medicine, where you treat the body, mind, heart, soul, everything. And then there's functional medicine, which says, hey, let's find the cause. Why does this person have cancer? What is causing that? Let's go find that. As opposed to, you have a symptom, let's give you a piece of paper, take it to CVS, get it filled, which causes 5 or 10 other problems right down the road. So that's our approach. So our approach is, one, what is wrong? So here's the truth, Tracy. The world is so toxic now. We don't even eat real food. Most Americans are eating food out of a box. The seeds are geoengineered. They're not even real anymore. And they drench them with glyphosate, which is Roundup, is what we use to kill the weeds in our garden. So we're all sick and toxic, especially from the glyphosate. And then the heavy metals. Like for me, for example, I'm a pretty healthy guy. I think it's my aluminum, my uranium, and I want to say lead is 300% above normal. Where does that come from? It's in the environment, right? So what's that do to my immune system? Well, it decreases my ability to create ATP. ATP comes from mitochondria. So when my energy is low, I can't create enough energy to strengthen my immune system. And that's a big, important buzzword in today's world, right? And so that's what we do. We're going to get in there, and we're going to do a lot of testing. So we're going to know exactly what's going on in your body, including your mouth, because if your mouth is messed up, you're never going to cure anything. And so we want to get you, find out exactly what's going on, and then detox this stuff out of your body while simultaneously giving you the minerals, the vitamins that you need to strengthen your body. And then, I love the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but his work is so profound. Through meditation, he's getting people into the quantum field of infinite possibilities where instant healings are taking place. So we're going to do a lot of that kind of meditation, a lot of that kind of work. I teach a course where we break your life into 6 areas. We write a powerful intention of what you want your life to be like, and we write it as if it already exists, because there's no difference between imagination and reality. And so that's the other work we do there. Then I love the work of Byron Katie, Louise Hay, and get into the heart and clean up all those emotional wounds. I know the work that you do. I mean, I have to tell you, they're suffering from emotional wounds that have created deep trauma. And what people don't realize, that trauma is in the body. It's in the myofascial system of the body. And so that's why those people, they're always pain and suffering. What I forget that disease. They can't, anyways, where everybody's always in pain and they can't find a cure and they send you to
fibromyalgia.
Yeah, exactly. But that's real. But they don't know why it's real because they don't do trauma work. They don't look at the thoughts that circle around in our head all day long, and they don't look at our emotional wounds. So therefore, they don't understand that kind of thing.
Yeah, they just, want to give us a pill and
yes, exactly.
Which
they make more. So I'm a car dealer. Okay. So you bring me your car for service. You know what my guys are looking for? Something wrong so we can sell you something because that's how we eat. Doctor's the same way. You go to the doctor, he wants to find something wrong, so he can sell you something so he can eat. And I believe that, if we were to do it right, doctors should be paid monthly. Every month I'm healthy, they get paid. And when I'm sick, they haven't done their job. And so they got to fix me for free.
I like that. That's a great concept.
Exactly.
That's a great concept. Now, when you mention, through the steps, you look in your mouth. Is that literally looking in the mouth, or is that what you're putting in your mouth?
No. So root canals, for example. Oh my goodness. The damage they cause in the whole, you have to understand, everything in your body is connected. So we do a lot of work with Chinese medicine, right? And meridians and stuff like that. So every tooth is connected to an organ, and they do these root canals, right? Which is one of the worst things you can do. And then of course, I'm 64, you're a lot younger, but so I grew up in America. I mean, you get a cavity, or they tell you got a cavity, and then they fill it with mercury, which is a poison, a toxic, right? So the whole thing is insane, but it's bacteria. Bacteria and viruses, all that stuff, it gets in the mouth. Think about your mouth, everything goes through your mouth, right? Mm-hmm. So, and if there's a problem there, if bacteria is leaking somewhere from your mouth, it goes throughout your whole body, gets in the bloodstream, it gets in your gut, leaky gut, bad bloodstream. And so this is where inflammation starts, and the inflammation leads to some sort of illness.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But you want to know something?
What's that?
I just had a doctor at my house here last night, a brilliant doctor from Mexico. And we started talking about that. And he says, Mike, you don't know how many people, and he's not an oncologist. He goes, you don't know how many people I've cured from cancer because I fixed their mouth. And he says, most oncologists, it's not even on their radar screen. They're not even taught this, so that's my point, is that we have to look at the whole body, the whole organism.
Yeah, I wish our medical system today would be, more in alignment with Eastern medicine.
Yeah, and let me share this with you. So I'm in Medellin, Colombia, and that's where our retreat center is, mountainsofhope.com. And so, excuse me, in 2002, the World Health Organization surveyed all the countries in the world for quality of healthcare. United States ranked 37th. Colombia ranked 22nd. This is 19 years ago. I would suggest that Colombia today is probably in the 15th, and US is probably in the 50th. And the US is by far the most expensive. I mean, in my book, Living in Color, it chronicles my wife, November 29th, 2010, she was, after an 8-year battle with cancer, and she was diagnosed at 29. She was told, Margot, unfortunately, your cancer spreads to the lining of your brain and your cerebral spinal fluid. If you do nothing, you have 6 weeks to live. And if you treat it, you have 6 months to live. Now, she lived for 6.5. I will guess, I don't know what, but I guess easily $1 million. I mean, it would, and what they did to her and the procedures were insane. And so it's just, we got to fix it. It's broken. Hopefully we get it fixed.
And the medicine that they give you, to treat the cancer just completely depletes your body of all nutrients. They don't give you the supplement, when you're doing the chemo and the radiation, they should be hooking you up to like a vitamin C IV bag or something, to replace what they're depleting.
Well, and this is what I tell everybody. Hey, listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to give medical advice, and I'm not knocking your doctor. They're taught what they're taught. I kind of feel sorry for them, right? I mean, I think 4 years of med school, I think they get 3 hours of nutrition. Well, what's more important than what you put in your body, right? So, I mean, it's just kind of backwards, right? But that's by design. That was created by people to make a lot of money. So that's their thing, right? Doesn't mean we have to, endorse it. We have to research. So I always tell people, hey, if you get cancer, first of all, don't panic. You have time. Okay. The first thing I want to do is like throw you in an IV or throw you in surgery, right? No, take a few days, relax, breathe, get a second opinion, do some research, and then really research the history of chemotherapy. And really, no one ever asked these guys questions, So I was my wife's advocate for 9 years. I mean, I learned more about breast cancer. I would literally many times know more than the doctor about a certain subject of what was her case, because hers was very complicated. But so the information is out there. The good thing about the world today is, the bad thing about the world is Google, but the good thing about the world is Google, because we can learn on our own. Just have to be very careful, and we have to discern what we see and learn and verify. But my point is that, just do research, golly, just, on everything that you're going to do to your body, pay attention, ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I think some of the best people to ask questions are other survivors.
Well, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, there's so many powerful books that have been written by survivors and written by survivors that went natural, and written by survivors that use meditation. And we use another thing down here called plant medicine. There's so many different healing modalities, and most of them are prior to 1900, because that's when they went to this allopathic and everything else became quackery.
Quackery.
Their term, by the way.
I love the term. So, okay. So, somebody who gets diagnosed, of course you said, don't panic, take a few days to process it, start doing your research and all of that. But, where do they go? Where do they go to research? Dr. Google is one thing, but my doctor cracks up when I message him and say, Dr. Google told me.
Right. Well, but there's many like integrative type practices when it comes to cancer, and they're gonna look at the whole body. When my wife was going through this, I remember one time, we read a published paper on how effective vitamin C infusions were, right? So we go to our oncologist and we say, hey, we want to do a vitamin C infusion. He goes, I won't do it. I'll lose my license. I won't do it. So, I mean, to me, vitamin C, but then we found a clinic in Nevada where we could do that. So it exists. But here's the problem. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing here in Colombia, is the insurance will not pay for that. Okay. So we were spending in Nevada, $5,000-$10,000 a month, and where we could just go to traditional allopathic and the insurance pays for it all. So if you don't have money, you're super screwed in this process. Real. Yeah. But with that said, and here's the other important thing. Hey, I believe that almost all cancers are lifestyle cancers, right? From what we eat, drink, think, not exercising, obesity, it's too much sugar, blah, 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 right? So that's one thing we can start fixing right now before we hear those ugly words. Unfortunately, you have cancer. So that's the best approach. So we can learn that right now. You can learn how to juice. One of the best things that my wife and I do every morning is a glass of fresh celery juice and a glass of fresh green juice every morning. I think it's how easy is that? And I think it's one of the most healthy things that we can do.
Yeah, you said celery juice?
Yeah, which interesting. There's a great book out there, and it sold a ton of copies, and it was written by a medium who had this download about celery juice, and now it's a very, very popular thing to do. And there is science behind it too, but at the time he didn't realize that.
Yeah, I've done green juice. I haven't tried celery juice.
Here's the deal. I have a lot of friends, and they don't have regular bowel movements, so they're clogged up. And you can just walk around Marion, you can see everybody's guts. You can see, how much excrement they still have in there. And so, when you drink this juice, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to have that problem. You might have other problems, but you're not going to have that problem.
For real. And, and when you do get backed up like that, it leaks through your intestines, and there you go, leaky gut.
And also the nutrients can't get into your system now, right? So now you're not getting it, and it just defeats everything. Our gut is so important, to the brain health too. A sick gut, you're going to have sick brain.
That, it reminds me of there was some joke years ago where the body parts were fighting over who was the most important.
Yeah, I remember I saw
you know,
that,
you know what I'm talking about? You know, they're all like,
so I am.
Yep. So the colon shuts down and
it's all over. And by the way, I mean, I got to tell you something, but I mean, I'm going to be serious for saying, so when my wife was terminal, there was 3 months she could not have a bowel. I'm going to tell you, there was so freaking crazy what this woman went through, you know, just wow. I just remembered that. Sorry to bring that up, but
no, that's no, I get it. I
know that was because of the drugs and, you know, everything else that was going on in the body, you know. So
yeah, it totally messes with your system.
Yeah, especially those pain pills and those opiates, you know. It's
the pain pills will back you up for sure.
Terrible.
Well, Michael, this has been so much fun. And I think I could probably talk to you for a long time, but in the interest of time, how can our listeners find you?
Okay, so well, there's a lot of places. My main personal website is MikeMurphyUnfiltered.com. And can I give a gift to your listeners? Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, so but there's a quid pro quo. Okay, so you buy Living in Color, which is like $15. This book will touch your heart, I promise you. It's been out a week. It's already an international bestseller. The reviews are off the charts. Already got a bunch of Amazon reviews. It's an uplifting, inspiring book about an amazing woman. So purchase this book. It's only $3 Kindle, $15 paperback. And send proof of purchase to Mike at MikeMurphyUnfiltered.com. And I will send you my online course called The Creation Frequency. We retail it for $197. I will send it to you for free. And I promise you, if you will take this course, it'll take about 6 hours. I promise you, you can get everything you truly desire in your life. It's that powerful.
That is amazing. That is such a great gift. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Listeners, I will put all of that information down in the show notes. I know it was a lot to catch. So if you're listening from one of our partner stations, just go over to releasingtraumapodcast.com, pull up Mike's show, and all of his contact information, the book, and everything will be there for you. So, Michael, again, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a real pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
And listeners, thank you as always for tuning in. We'll talk to you in the next show.